This is MaxPreps Friday Night Live.
The state of Alaska starts playoffs tonight. 'Tis the season, as this is Friday Night Live. I am Steve Montoya, and of course, the man next to me is prepping for Movember, it seems like.
Hey, October is the month for the ladies. November is the month for the boys.
Got it.
And you know what? I was getting kind of tired each year just having like a little salty stash above the upper lip. So I wanted this year to be, you know, really manly when it comes to November and Movember.
Yeah, well, you got me beat.
Good.
Hey,
but that's
before-
looking forward.
Yeah,
so
let's not look too far ahead. Actually, let's look back to the
Okay.
month of September.
Yeah, and what a better way to do so than to take a look at the month's best plays in this segment we like to call the top plays of September. The month of September has come and gone, and we bring you the top 10 plays of the month. We start with Santa Margarita's senior receiver Kyle Sweet, who recorded a school record with 16 catches in their 21-10 win over Dorsey at Saddleback College in Walnut. But the only one making this show is the Hail Mary catch he made right before halftime on a 45-yard, three flies up tip pass from quarterback KJ Costello. Now, a quick little fact about Santa Margarita High School: quarterback Carson Palmer is a famous alum.
Great fact, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, play number 9. This is a walk-off hook and lateral for the win. 6 seconds left to go in Pennsylvania. The coach draws it up. The players execute it to perfection, and the man on the lateral side of it is JAMAR White, and he takes it into the end zone. Chris, that's a walk-off. Great trick play. Love it. That's play 9.
Great call by the coach. Penn State commit in Whitehall of PA running back SAQUON Barkley provides us all with this dynamite 81-yard punt return that might not have happened without the blocking from his teammates. I like that football is the quintessential team sport, and blocks like that one and that one make me so happy and epitomize teamwork. He takes it all the way, but of course, as we mentioned before, without moves like that one that take him into the end zone and show why he's a Division I recruit, this play wouldn't have happened.
Those are some big words you got there, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, this didn't look good for Fremd High School in Illinois, but when you got a QB like Nick Bosong who can make a play and throw it deep, and then you got Kyle Lewis who was there to just take the tip pass back to the house. Yes, this looked terrible to begin with, but that's okay because for them, it turned out well. Yes, there's some luck, but there's also plenty of skill to make a throw like that, and you have to have concentration, and that's what Kyle Lewis had. That's the touchdown there, and that is a top play in September.
Number 6, 2.6 seconds on the clock and a 30-game winning streak on the line. Jalen Elliott to DeJuan Dorsey of Bird High in Virginia. Hook up on this Hail Mary TD against Dale to win 20-15 as Bird extends winning streak. Side note to the play, throw prior to this was a failed attempt, so great time management gave them 2 chances at the end zone. We watch it one more time. This is a 51-yard heave towards the end zone. 3 teammates surrounding the ball, but you know what? Only one needs to come down with it to extend the winning streak.
Hey, you see in college, maybe the USC games, some crazy Hail Marys. That's like once a month. We see it every week in high school, and this was another one. Jordan Johnson scrambled from Oak Leaf. The ball is up about the 10-yard line, tips into the hands of Darius Perry, who takes it in. Chris, you always hear me say this, just knock it down, but no, not this time. The Cardiac kids from Oak Leaf High School pull out the 16-14 win. Oak Leaf at that point was 4-0. Great play.
Kids trying to pad their stats, and we try to pad our stats here. 242,000 views on this video, so you know it must be good. Austin Fay of Glenwood in Illinois decided not to call for a fair catch on this bullet punt, which looked like not the best idea as he gets hit, spun around. Pets' heads are falling off, but Austin must have known something we didn't as he breaks through it all and takes the punt all the way to the 5 for a 43-yard hardest fought punt return you will see. And right here, He takes it out of all of that debacle and still tries to get it down, but just runs out of gas. Great job, though, Austin Faye.
We're not going to Aspen like Lloyd and Harry, but we're going to South Carolina, Chris, and that's where Bailey Rogers of Wren High School takes the kickoff with basically no time left on the clock, and he takes it all the way back to the house for a 54-49 win. And Chris, you wrote this up when we did this earlier in the month. Coach said whoever paid to get into tonight's game, it was well worth the ticket. We wish we were there and we would have paid to get in, because that's an incredible finish in South Carolina.
You got to pay double to see plays like that and games like that, and I would have paid double to see this play, which was sent to us using the hashtag MP Top Play. And as it is the number 2 play in all of September, Tivy wide receiver Carson McCoy, as you just saw, lays out and hauls it in with one hand. He hauled in this pass from running back Wyatt Trahan with one hand, and you'll see it from this angle. This is laid out right there. You can't get any more vertical than that.
No, that could have easily been the number 1 play, but another Texas wide receiver is going to take the top spot, and that's Kofi Boateng from Lamar High School. And this is one you definitely need to watch over and over again just to see how special it really is, as he catches it on the back, hugs the defender to the ground, and somehow still holds onto it for a 48-yard catch. We're going to slow it down a little bit. Watch this one more time, Chris. It's a real toss-up between those 1-2 plays right there. But this one, because he held on to it on the back of the defender, makes it the number 1 play of all of September. And that right there, folks, is the top plays in high school football in all of September. And we bring in our national football editor, Steve Spiewak. Steve, there's a huge showdown in the state of New Jersey. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Steve. The game between Don Bosco Prep and Paramus Catholic has some interesting storylines on the field, but it's what's been taking place off the field that is what's generating most of the buzz surrounding the game. You know, sometimes you hear coaches sort of take subtle jabs or a backhanded insult at another coach, but rarely, if ever, in the high school space, do you see coaches wage a public war of words, and that is what we have seen between Don Bosco Prep and Paramus Catholic. They've taken to local media, everything including recruiting and sportsmanship and all sorts of issues being thrown around. The school ADs and presidents have gotten involved, and it is a very, very public war of words between two programs that really, really dislike one another. But talking about the on-the-field matchup, Don Bosco Prep will have to contend with Paramus Catholic defensive lineman Rashawn Gary. Last week in a matchup against Bergen Catholic, Gary went for 5 sacks. I spoke earlier this week to Don Bosco offensive coordinator Drew Lascari, and he told me that they knew Gary had the size, but what really stood out about him on film is just how quickly he fires off the ball. He said a kid like Rashawn Gary is a kid that you have to game plan for. You have to take him into account when you're drawing up your offensive scheme. So they will look to dodge him and try to put up some points against a Paramus Catholic defense that has been very good. Guys, very, very, very intriguing matchup in New Jersey. It's going to be a fun one.
Now, Steve, I haven't really been there throughout all this time and been reading all the articles and stuff, but can you give me just a little bit more insight on what is the cause for all this animosity and hostility out there before this big matchup?
I think a lot of it dates back to the transfer of Jabril Peppers from Don Bosco Prep to Paramus Catholic. Greg Toll, Don Bosco Prep head coach, has openly said he believes Jabril Peppers was recruited to attend Paramus Catholic while he was a student at Don Bosco Prep. And I think the Paramus Catholic folks believe that Jabril Peppers was not treated well at Don Bosco Prep. And Jabril Peppers himself actually weighed in a local news story in the Bergen Record and said that he was not recruited to Paramus Catholic, but he was recruited to Don Bosco Prep in the 8th grade. So all sorts of craziness going on off the field, and I think that's what's adding to a lot of the hype for Saturday's game.
Now, how close are these two schools proximity-wise? and why is it so easy for one school just to pick up a player and another player move from within the schools?
Well, Don Bosco Prep, Paramus Catholic are separated by only a few miles, and then you also have Bergen Catholic and St. Joseph Regional, and then not too far from there is St. Peter's Prep, a team that's been nationally ranked this year. So you're talking about 5 programs on the national radar, and each of them is vying to sort of attract top talent and knock off the others. And in New Jersey, typically if you have a bona fide change of address, you are allowed to be eligible immediately at your new school. So a lot of times these kids move and end up at a new school, and it's not something that the NJSIAA seems to investigate very thoroughly, because they're not a private eye, they're not a detective organization to follow kids around and really pursue this sort of thing. So most times when a kid transfers, he ends up playing right away.
Well, thank you for all that input, and I appreciate you shining a light on that situation. And now let's get away from all that's happening out there on the East Coast, and let's go west. Each and every week we release our MaxPreps top 10 high school football games of the week right here on MaxPreps, of course. And this week, not only do we have that Don Bosco Paramus Catholic game, but we also have a big game going on out here on the West Coast. Give us a little more insight on exactly what that game is.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of hype around the modern-day St. John Bosco game, and fortunately, the hype is for the action that's taking place on the field tonight, because this is a game between two very, very good teams. Mater Dei is ranked number 6 in our excellent 25 and remains undefeated. They've allowed only 71 points through 5 games. Quarterback Jack Lowry has thrown for 7 touchdowns and has yet to be intercepted. And 8 different Mater Dei Monarchs have rushed for touchdowns this season. St. John Bosco has not lost to a California opponent since a 13-10 setback to Long Beach Poly. They rebounded from a loss to Bishop Gorman against Crenshaw with a 65-7 victory. They're the home team, and I think a lot of people locally, despite the fact that Mater Dei is ranked higher nationally, expect St. John Bosco to be the favorite in this game and ultimately come away with the victory. To do that, running back Sean McGrew is going to have to get going. He was sort of bottled up against Bishop Gorman, but he's a big part of the offense and buy some time for quarterback Josh Rosen to open up the passing game. So big matchup, and like I said, luckily this one, all the buzz is for what's going to take place on the field, not off of it.
All right, thanks, Steve, and we'll hear more from Steve Spiewak in just a bit about another big, literally big story. All right, Chris, I think of you as a celebrity.
Why?
I'm kidding, I don't. But it's a great segue into our next segment, because we're going to look at some former NFL stars who now have kids playing high school football. And first, we're going to start with a guy named John Bledsoe. Yes, the Bledsoe name may ring a bell, because that's the son of Drew Bledsoe. John is a sophomore QB for Summit High School in Oregon. He stands 6'2". You know his dad, Chris, Drew, right? He's the old New England Patriots quarterback, multiple teams. He was the guy right before Tom Brady. Well, now Drew, not only is his son playing for Summit, but Drew is also the offensive coordinator, so some good knowledge up there in Oregon. That's John Bledsoe, Chris.
Mm-hmm. And Brett Favre may have moved on from his coaching duties at Oak Grove and got his groom back, but the family's legacy at the Mississippi High School continues with daughter Braylee, the youngest daughter of Brett and Deanna. Braylee Favre is a standout volleyball player on Oak Grove's girls varsity team. Now, Braylee Favre first made the varsity roster as an 8th grader, but has really come into her own as a sophomore. She is second on the team in both kills and attack attempts, and has also shown a knack for serving, delivering 7 aces in a single match against Petal.
Pretty impressive there. Coach Favre has to be happy for his daughter. All right, we remember the movie Invincible featuring Vince Papale, right? Great movie. Well, his son Vinny is one of the best receivers in all of South New Jersey. He had 56 receptions for 859 yards. He had 9 TDs. He's making a name for himself at football, but as a receiver, his dad, we all know, went on to play for the Eagles. A great movie. Well, his son, Vinny, is making a name for himself. We have a full feature on Vinny right now. You can find that on the National Football page on MaxPreps.
Now, another athlete making a name for himself out there on the gridiron is out of Lincoln High in Washington, junior quarterback Jordan KITNA, who this past week led the Abes to a 91-0 victory. Now, Jordan KITNA is the son of former NFL QB John KITNA. I say former lightly, as he was signed just last year to the Cowboys to come back at the end of the year. Now, Jordan has led the Abes to a 5-0 record in this his junior year. He's thrown for 23 TDs and only 4 INTs, and has over 1,500 yards.
All right, Chris. Well, John KITNA is the coach there for that team as well. And speaking of an NFL coach, Antonio Pierce of Long Beach Poly is the head coach there. And John KITNA's team put up 90 points. Well, Antonio Pierce's team put up 99. Yes, you heard that right. A 99-9 victory over Compton last week. At halftime, it was 63-9. There wasn't bad blood between the two coaches. It was just Long Beach Poly was that good that game, and you know they probably were making some plays that game.
I know. And of course, when you see 99 points put up on a scoreboard, you know there had to have been at least one play, at least one play that could be deemed a hashtag MP top play. So let's get to the point. Let's see if one of those plays from that big victory makes it in this week's MaxPreps Top Plays of the Week.
All right, Jordan McCrae, hey, we were going to see this right here, the little stiff arm, he gets away, but Chris, you got to love the block right there as he takes it down the field and into the end zone. We're going to see this from a second angle. This angle shows just the nifty moves right there by the QB, juking his way, stiff arming out of the next one, gets a great downfield block. Chris, we love the blocks down the field by those receivers as he gets into the end zone.
Love the blocks, and on this one, I called this Pop Goes the Weasel, and you're going to find out right about now. It took place in Pinkerton, Ohio, Pinkerton North, and Brandon James gets that ball after it gets dislodged from the running back's hands, and he takes it into the end zone for about an 18-yard touchdown run. Now, this is just watching, you know, he sees it, he saw it, boom, goes up in the air, catches it. Now, he turns into the guy that's going to be taking it into the end zone for seven. That's Brandon James of Pinkerton North in Ohio, making the best out of nothing.
Hey, we might see them again in a little bit, maybe,
Probably,
right?
maybe.
Hey, you talked about Long Beach Poly making plays. Well, here is that play, Chris, and it falls on a kickoff return, and this must have been after one of Compton's score, obviously, or before half, and the man just using and abusing the defenders all the way down. That's Dejon Logan of Long Beach Poly with that play.
Hey, and you love these names. Rocco in New Jersey. Rocco Ordilli. Love the name, and you know what? He had a game. We had to, you know, we could have chosen any play from this game that he had, but this one really stood out. Love running backs when they can take it through, you know, get around guys trying to tackle them. Take it from the middle, out to the outside, breaking tackles. He's doing everything a running back is asked to do by reading blocks, breaking tackles, and just being elusive. And that is Rocco Ordilli.
Love Rocco. Now this is a great design play. It's the reverse TD pass, and Coach drew this up, and when the coaches are drawing these plays up, they're thinking, yeah, this might work. Well, this play worked as about as perfect as you can between DeMarcus Jackson and Xavier Jenkins. This was MaxPreps top 10 game of the week. They did not end up winning this game, Chris, but the coach should be happy. His players came away with a great play there. The double reverse TD pass for the touchdown.
Now up is the fifth play. And we have London Gaskin, Trinity Catholic's 5'9", 975-pound senior, and he shows off his athleticism in this play right here. It's a great punt return, and we're going to be able to see this twice. So let's just watch the first time and just really appreciate what he does. He tells them, let's go, let's go. They create their flying V. He gets behind it, and he's going to take it all the way behind his blockers, into the end zone. Didn't even need to sprint at the end of that. Let's watch this one more time, and you are going to see this is a 95-yard punt return that gives you everything that you ever needed from one, and especially a stiff arm right there to take it all the way. I love the, hey guys, let's go, and then let's speed it up so you don't have to watch it. Nothing but a little block on the kicker.
Was Gordon Bombay the coach there, the flying V?
I wish.
All right, Braylon Wilson. Hey, we saw Pinkerton North again earlier. We're going to see him again. This time it's Mr. Wilson, and watch, he's down right here. Nope. He bounces off, and somehow, Chris, Mr. Wilson finds the end zone here. It did not look good. It still doesn't look good, but does he really find the end zone? I think he does, but come on, ref! Don't give him a touchdown on that?
You gotta give him a touchdown on that.
Gee, I mean, look at the effort. His towel flies off. He comes in. He gets lit, but
Eight guys right there. 8 guys surround him and still. And then this guy right here. Whoop.
oh, so that's why you do squats, Chris. Right
That's
there.
why.
You keep your legs going, your legs driving. And Chris, I say this is the touchdown. Don't watch the actual film. This is a touchdown. Come on, ref, give it to him.
Number 3, and we always like to see D1 recruits doing their thing, and we have here James Allen, running back from North Marion in Florida, showing us why exactly he is a D1 recruit.
That looks
And
like me running against you.
you see this and you say that because you think that I'm the defensive player trying to make the tackle and you running through, but come on now, defense, wrap up, don't go after a big guy up top so he can lower his shoulder, but he shows you, hey, don't wrap up on me and I will make you look bad.
Yeah, Matt Boyle here. Oh, I love some defense. Ball's tipped. He's got it. He's down, though. Great pick. Great play. That's why we showed it, right? No, that's not why we showed it. We showed it because of the return right here. Oop, excuse me. And I will go in. We're going to see more defensive plays later in the show. This one easily could have made our defensive segment, but it was so good, it made our actual top 10 segment because not only did he pick it, but he fought off about 4 or 5 guys, juked one guy, got in the end zone. That's a pick 6.
And number 1, Justice Agafa. We say athlete of South Anchorage in Alaska, and that's because he does things like this. He literally flips into the end zone for 6. Let's show this one more time. Tackled a little bit in the back. He always lines up kind of in that wildcat formation because he's the athlete. They want to get him the ball, and then he flips over. And if that's not the number 1 play, I don't know what play would be, but that is the number 1 play in this week's top plays of the week.
All right, Chris. Well, I don't know if our next featured guy can do a flip like that into the end zone, but he's worth talking about.
Oh, for sure.
And we're talking about 6'11" QB Logan Rout from West Virginia. Yes, you heard that right. He is 6'11", and he's playing quarterback. He has no trouble seeing over the line. We saw Dondre Harris a couple weeks ago, the big guy, playing defense line. This is a QB, and his favorite target is a 5'5" receiver, Chris.
Ooh. Look at that picture, and it shows it perfect. Now, we look at this, and we're like, he has to be a basketball player.
Yeah.
That is right. He was 3rd team All-State last year on the hardwood. He also is a baseball player, so he's a 3-sport stud up there at Cameron in West Virginia.
And on that note, we're going to bring in our national football editor, Steve Spiewak. And Steve, you actually got to communicate a little bit with the coach, talk a little bit more about Logan and the 6'11" QB that's going viral right now across the web.
Thanks, Steve. It is a fascinating story. As you guys mentioned, he's not just a football player. He's also a pitcher on the mound for the baseball team and an all-state basketball player. So an all-around athlete. And as you see him move around in the film here, you can tell that he's not a stiff quarterback. He can move a little bit. He has some agility, and he can make some plays with his legs, which is pretty amazing to see from a 6'11" young man. He's from Cameron, West Virginia, a town with a population of less than 1,000. And guys, I have reason to believe that he is probably the tallest quarterback to ever play American football at any level. I can't imagine anybody ever being taller than him. Just a really, really fascinating story. Some of the interesting things that go along with being a 6'11" QB. His head coach, Scott Holt, told me that they had a very difficult time finding a jersey that properly fit him. They didn't have an easy time finding a jersey that was long enough to cover his entire torso. Additionally, he does not fit under the inflatable, the tunnel that the team emerges from before the games. He is too tall and does not fit underneath that. And guys, after games, opposing fans want to take photos with him. So he's a bit of a celebrity there in Cameron, West Virginia, and an all-around interesting story.
Yeah, great stuff there, and I used to get the autographs after the game as well, but not because I'm 6'11".
I really liked that little sneak that he had. He was so big that he just hit the ball, and then on top of it, the block that the wide receiver, 5'5" wide receiver, set on the defensive athlete that was attempting to tackle the quarterback. I mean, showing the 5'5" guy blocking for the 6'11" guy.
That's
it's
pretty
really cool to see.
Yeah, and we will have a lot more. We have a lot more videos and photos of Logan and his teammates on the site right now. All right, it's time to get to a feature about one of the top recruits in all the country, and this Get to the Game presented by American Family Insurance.
Get to the Game, presented by American Family Insurance. Blake Barnett, a standout quarterback prospect from Santiago High in Corona, California, has committed to the University of Alabama, but his dreams don't stop there.
To be successful in college football is one of my biggest dreams. I want to be remembered as a great leader and to not put other things in the way of my goals.
Blake's work ethic is amazing to me. He's very dedicated, and he drives himself.
He understands that he has a gift, and he wants to be able to get to the best that he can be.
I protect my dreams by setting myself around people with similar attributes as me, because it helps us achieve our goals, and it's not letting other things get in the way.
Blake knows that while football's important, it's his academic achievements that will matter most.
The importance of academics has always been a focus for us. We wanted to raise him and make sure that he was focused on going to college.
Academics is a huge thing. Without education, I don't believe that you could be successful in life.
He wants to do well, he wants good grades. Whether he's playing football or not, he's going to be a successful young man.
Blake's recruitment didn't pick up until late in his junior year, but he never wavered in pursuit of his dreams.
The recruiting took off. I mean, it was literally went from 0 to 100 in a matter of 2 weeks.
I always knew he'd be successful in whatever he did. I didn't think it was going to explode this big.
If I were to give advice to any player, I'd say to focus on their dream and do everything you possibly can to achieve them, and don't let anything else get in the way.
To watch more inspiring stories about these incredible athletes and their dreams, visit amfam.com/gettothegame.
Just another solid QB from the state of California, and he's a playmaker.
Yeah, and he probably really puts some pressure on defenses.
He
out
does.
there. And you know what segment I know each and every week you look forward to the most?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a segment where we actually get to highlight defensive plays. And this week we have 5 defensive plays that resulted in a TD to make you happy.
I appreciate that.
And we, of course, begin with every defensive player loves and looks forward to a scoop and score. And Appleton East of Wisconsin's Dominique Castillo gets the opportunity and takes full advantage as he waits for the ball to come out of the scrum and scoops it up, turning himself into an offensive player and taking it into the end zone. Bad snap, scuffle, pigskin is greased up or something, but not for Dominic as he scoops and scores the end zone. Is coming up right here, getting into there, and that's always something that defensive players love to do, is score TDs, yes. But.
Yes, here's another thing defensive players love to do. Pick 6 with one hand. Now this could have been, and it probably is going to be, one of our best defensive plays, potentially of the year. We're gonna watch it again to see how difficult it is. See that? The one-handed stretch, that's Charles Wade from Bishop Kenny with that pick 6, using the one hand. Great play.
The talk up in Washington when it comes to high school football is usually about Bellevue, but not this time, as the Skyline Spartans have been known to play some very good ball, as Sean Hill shows us here, as they not only provide us with a solid goal line stand, but Sean has the wherewithal to go and strip the ball, knowing the runner was in an awkward predicament it pays off as he gets 99.8 yards and a defensive TD and makes it right here onto FNL. There's the defensive stand. He's going down, but camera has to find him because Sean Hill took the ball right from the grasp of the running back and takes it all the way to the end zone. And that's a great heads-up play. That's what you're taught. Stand him up and then strip the ball.
That's right, Chris. You are correct. Now we're going to head to Minnesota. Totino Grace here. This is Benjamin Mazinga. Yes, the pick is great. Excellent read there, but the run's better. Dodging defenders and goes all the way across the field. Excuse me, I need to go a little bit further. Excuse you, how about I just... That was easy. How about I just go right into the end zone? That's a pick six. And Chris, your favorite part of this whole play, number 12 there is saying, woo-wee.
We are not worthy.
Yeah.
We are not worthy.
And this is why they're not worthy. Again, we're going to watch it again. Great pick there. Look at him turn on the speed. The Jets. And the offense has to turn into a defense on this. And
another favorite spot right here.
Yeah.
17. You can just tackle 17.
Oh,
all right.
But it was just too good. Benjamin Mazinga all the way back for the touchdown.
No, this is not J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans. This is Will Rosicki of Seymour High in Wisconsin, getting the interception as a defensive lineman and taking it to the house, showing his speed and hands. We're going to show this one more time as he gets the interception here from a different angle. Teammate is tackling, he gets the loose ball and he turns, and now he copies everything that J.J. Watt does in his games, besides doing that awkward nay-nay dance, but he does show his speed and hands.
If we would have made a bet at the beginning of the year that J.J. Watt would have more TDs than Megatron and LaShawn McCoy, would you have made that bet?
I would have put it on the wall.
Yeah.
That would have been wall-worthy, maybe.
Yeah. All right, well, Chris, I know I love defense, and I know you do that segment for me.
Thanks.
So I appreciate that.
Thanks.
This segment's for you. It's about guys who went off, and we're going to start it off with Kyle Banks in the state of Georgia. The QB threw the ball 44 times for 568 yards and 6 TDs. Now, the junior, you may think, well, he threw it 44 times. Maybe 20 or 40, the 50% would be pretty good. No, 37 of 44, Chris. He went off.
Ooh, he did go off. Now, another guy that went off is DeONTE Williams of BOYLE in Arizona. He's a 6'4", 190-pound senior wide receiver, and he had himself a game in their 59-20 loss to Cienega in Arizona. He hauled in 11 grabs for 316 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that is T.Y. Hilton type numbers, and he went off.
Well, it's the guy in my other league sat T.Y. Hilton the other night. He did not go off.
No.
Okay, we're going to go now to Pennsylvania, and that's where we find D'Angelo Mitchell. There he is. From West Mifflin High School, the running back had 34 carries for 403 yards and 6 TDs. He said, "Coach, give me the ball." Coach said, "You take the ball." And he scored 6 TDs, and he went off.
And you know what? I'm going to continue to kiss up to you. And I get a defensive play and player into this segment. Now, Parker Workman of Bingham in Utah is a 6'3", 215-pound outside linebacker and was Alta's worst nightmare last week as Workman sacked the QB 5 times in Bingham's 35-3 win. Now, Workman will have to be a Workman this week as Bingham takes on Jordan and Austin Kafensis, who might just very well be the best player ever in Utah, as he has like 17,000 total yards. Austin does for Jordan, so it's going to be a lot of work for Workman this week.
Yeah, well, those are some great win-off players right there. That's going to be an excellent defensive and offensive battle there in the state of Utah. All right, Chris, we're going to learn now about a unique volleyball player, and we're talking about an All-American volleyball player in Melody McHenry. And we have a little video of her kicking. So she's an All-American volleyball player. She stands 6'2". She's been kicking for the varsity team now for 3 years. As a sophomore, she scored 48 points. Now her coach, Steve Ray, the football coach, says if she focused on football. She could be a college kicker. That's how good she is. We believe she's the only All-American volleyball player in the country playing football. So, Chris, Melody is gifted, not only on the volleyball court, but as we're seeing here, she has a leg. She's a good football player and playing multiple sports. And if you can kick, you might as well.
Hey, every time, special teams is very important when it comes to high school football and football in general. And so if you can get a good kicker out there that can put the defense or the offense way back in their own territory, I mean, it's always a benefit to your team.
Yeah,
so it looks, according to those videos, it looks like Melanie's doing that. So congratulations to her and being able to play both as well, because I know out here in California they're in the same season, so that would be really difficult. But
yep. And we have a full profile on her that is coming out on Saturday on MaxPreps.com. All right, before we go, a little social fun on Instagram that we have going right now. It's our October photo challenge. This week, it's all about action shots. Use the hashtag MaxPrepsOctober, and you can win some very cool swag. Again, that's action shots on Instagram. And some more exciting news to talk about. Last week we mentioned our deal with Huddle. Well, this week you'll officially start to see videos showing up on the MaxPreps desktop page as MaxPreps and Huddle locked up a partnership. So that's exciting for kids across the nation, not only to have all your normal MaxPreps stuff from photos, video, or stats and schedules and scores. Now you got all your Huddle video coming in.
Yep, and Huddle video, of course, comes in from 15,000 plus of the football teams out there. So a lot of kids are now going to have that video footage on MaxPreps, and we're going to be able to promote you guys even better than ever before.
That's right. Well, we hope you enjoy your weekend of football. For Chris Stonebreaker, I am Steve Montoya. This is Friday Night Live.
This is MaxPreps Friday Night Live.